Before we begin, I would like to start our press conference with a brief moment of silence in honor of the last known survivor, Dr. Olivia J. Hooker. Ashe. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre Centennial Commission press conference regarding a great announcement. Many of you know that the terminology between riot and massacre has been a topic of conversation for several years. After speaking with a few of the survivors and after speaking with the steering committee of the commission, we agreed to make a change. And our chair at this time, Senator Kevin Matthews, will come and give you a detailed description as to how we developed and arrived at this point. Thank you so much. After which he will hold brief interviews for questions and comments.
I want to thank you, Jamal. And I want to thank each of you for being here. I think that we have our city councilor, Vanessa Hall Harper. I believe I saw her here. I know that we have Senator James Lankford's office present, someone from the mayor's office present, and many others. Thank you for coming. Because we've had dialogue over the past year about the difference in the word massacre versus riot. Many of you may or may not know that that name was not given by people in this community and the people that experienced that devastation. That name was given by others. And sadly enough, the word riot, just that word riot, was a reason to deny insurance policies for folks that had their belongings destroyed, their houses burned, and their loved ones massacred. That's been a sore feeling for 97 years. And ironically, as Dr. Olivia Hooker, as we memorialized her across the street here on Greenwood at Vernon AME Church, that was one of the things that she fought for. She was a survivor, 6 years old, that survived this tragedy. And she spent much of her life, even going to Congress, the Congressional Black Caucus in 2005, to talk about the fact that it was a massacre and not a riot. And so, although we believe it's very important to have that dialogue, we had young people, students at the Row Demonstration School come here in this very hall and learn about those things that happened. And they had a debate about the difference in riot versus massacre. And so as we make this change, you can see that we crossed out the word riot and put massacre, but we have it crossed out so that that dialogue still continues, so that we do what this commission is supposed to do. And that is to educate people about what happened and to continue to bring people here to Tulsa, where the National African American Museum of History and Culture, who has an exhibit on this, has had millions of people fly there when it's our story. And the people that were affected, those that experienced this devastation, as well as current area residents and historical scholars, have discussed how important it is to have the correct name given by us, and that is massacre. And so rather than to continue to call it one thing and one day and call it something the next day, we have decided to listen to those historical scholars, listen to those individuals we've talked to that survived this tragedy, and listen to the people that still live in this area that feel so strongly about the fact that it should be called a massacre. And so while we had already started talking about these things, while we had decided to do this today, we felt that we need to make an official announcement. And that's what we're doing today, is making an official announcement that this commission, this 1921 Centennial Commission, will now, going forward, be called the 1921 Race Massacre Commission. That's what we're here for today. We're going to be having a meeting right after this, and we're open for any questions. If there are none, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for being committed to this area and what we're going to make it, because we feel like educating around this is the opportunity to not only bring tourism and people to Tulsa, not only have that dialogue that's so important, but reconciliation starts with transparency, and getting the story right. Thank you.
Again, thank you all so much for being here. Senator Matthews will entertain questions and interviews shortly after this. However, the commission members are asked to meet at the Maple B Little House for a brief meeting. So thank you all so much for being here.